Good morning, everybody. We're going to review another Hank the Cowdog story. This is a short story entitled The Hank the Cowdog, the Homeless Pooch by John R Erickson, narrated by John R Erickson, of course. And this is basically Hank's backstory of, how he became head of ranch security. He started out as a pup, of course, and he got kicked, from his home he got in trouble for thinking that a goose down comforter that the owner of the house where he was born had set out, had put on the line to dry, so to speak. He got in trouble for thinking that was ducks, and he started attacking them and stuff. And but I think too, like any puppies, his time to come to go out in the world and fend for himself was drawing near. And I think that's why his mom was subtly trying to kick him out of the nest, or kick him, push him out of the basket, so to speak. And when I kind of re-listened to this story for the video, because it had been several years since I've heard it. Actually, I got the idea for the review the other day, and it took me a while to find it, but I found it. But when I kind of re-listened to the story for the review, I was kind of surprised how rude Hank's mother was to him. And then it dawned on me that she was probably trying to kick him, or trying to subtly tell him that it was time for him to go out into the world. And so he does, and he gets in trouble by the dog catcher, and he meets Slim Chance at a cattle auction, and basically then him and Slim hear about this ranch job, and they go on, they end up working for Loper and Sally Mae, and that's how that's how Hank the Cowdog came to be. And it was published in 2004. Now, it's kind of a bonus to the story, because the story itself is fairly short. So John decided to record the stories that became the inspiration for the homeless pup, and he does like a little introduction to those before he says that they're the stories that he published in the Cattleman's magazine, and he kind of gives us kind of an introduction to how he came to write Hank. He was basically writing stories to make money, and he had no intention of continuing or making it a career, because he started out as a cowboy, and he was trying to make some extra money on the side, so he started writing stories for the Cattleman magazine, and they took off, and that's how Hank the Cowdog was born. But anyway, the story that kind of inspired the Homeless Pup was called Confessions of a Cowdog Parts 1 and 2. And it's really interesting to hear the story, the characters Hank and Drover kind of in their early stages, because as even Hank's and Drover's voices in these early stages were a little different. It's kind of interesting to hear, how Hank and Drover, evolved through the years, and I've read lots of Hank the Cowdog books, and so it was really cool for me to be able to hear how Hank and Drover evolved over the years. And so anyway, and actually I didn't get a chance to finish the two bonus stories because my CD was skipping, but I heard enough of them to include these in the review. And by the way, this was published in 2004. To close the video, I wanted to say that there's actually going to be a couple more. We're actually going to do a couple more Hank the Cowdog book reviews. One being Hank the Cowdog in the Case of the Most Ancient Bone, and Hank the Cowdog, The Fling, and we're Hank the Cowdog, The Further Adventures of Hank the Cowdog, and Hank the Cowdog, The Case of the Vampire Vacuum Sweeper, which is one of my favorites, so be looking for those in the future. I hope you enjoy this, and if you do, please check it out, because like I said in our overview video of the series, there's dozens of Hank the Cowdog books and to check out. So I hope you enjoy it. I give this 5 stars. This is an audio only story. There is no print version. Shot and produced by Adam Brown. Audio and video provided by WeVideo and the YouTube Music Library. Photo taken from Google Images. Screen recording taken from Hank the Cowdog's website. Achieved using iPicky.com.